Since the subcommittee's hearing back in April, the news has been full of reports of hacks and cyber intrusions. Lockheed Martin, Sony, Epsilon, Sega, the International Monetary Fund, and the websites of the CIA and the Senate, to name just a few, have been compromised in just a 2-month period. This reflects the fact that our nation's privacy, intellectual property, and security are under constant and worsening cyber attack. The internet age has brought with it an explosion of new commerce, freedom of expression, and economic opportunity. We see its benefits at home and around the world. Unfortunately, our increased connectivity allows criminals, terrorists, and hostile nations to exploit cyberspace, to attack America, invade our privacy, loot our intellectual property, and expose America's core infrastructure to cyber sabotage. Whether by copying source code, by industrial espionage of military product designs, by identity theft, by online piracy, or by outright stealing from banks. Cybercrime cripples American innovation and commerce, kills jobs, and undermines our economic and national security. Congress must act to provide the administration, as well as private entities, the tools and authorities they need to improve our nation's cybersecurity. To that end, I'm very glad that the administration has weighed in with its legislative proposals to improve our nation's cybersecurity. The administration proposals aim at key cybersecurity challenges. For instance, securing our critical infrastructure, such as our electric grid, and providing for voluntary assistance in response to a cyber incident. I'm glad that the subcommittee will have the opportunity to hear from the administration today, and I'm happy to welcome our witnesses from the Department of Justice, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Department of Commerce. I'm also very glad to be welcoming Congressman Jim Langevin of my home state. Boy, his timing is good. He just came through the door as I said that. To the committee. Congressman Langevin is a well-regarded leader on cybersecurity, having served on the House Intelligence Committee, led the Congressional Cyber Security Caucus, and co-chaired the Center for Strategic and International Studies Commission on Cybersecurity for the 44th presidency. I very much look forward to his testimony and appreciate his friendship. Our hearing today will focus on 3 elements of the administration's proposals that fall within the Judiciary Committee's jurisdiction and expertise: the data breach section, the voluntary information sharing proposal, and recommendations for increased criminal penalties under the hacking statute, 18 United States Code, Section 1030. This committee is well situated to consider those questions, particularly in light of the longstanding leadership of Chairman Leahy on these issues. I look forward to working with the chairman, with Senator Kyle and other members of this committee as the Senate prepares cybersecurity legislation. The 3 proposals we will focus on today are central to any discussion of improved cybersecurity and individual privacy. The recent data breaches at Sony, Epsilon, and Sega reveal how determined criminals can compromise Americans' privacy and economic security. Prompt and clear notification of such a breach is important to enable Americans to limit the damage caused by data breaches and resulting identity theft. Today, a confusing patchwork of state laws provides for different notifications to different customers across the country, delaying and raising the cost of breach notification. The administration would replace this patchwork of state laws with a single federal standard, requiring notification of a breach to the Department of Homeland Security, which would then pass on the information to the Federal Trade Commission, the Secret Service, and the FBI for appropriate enforcement actions. Proper sharing of cybersecurity threat information also is vital. The administration has recommended, subject to various safeguards, enhanced sharing of cybersecurity threat information between private industry and the government. The administration also has recommended enhancing criminal penalties for hackers. Our current laws have proven to lack appropriate deterrent effect. This hearing will consider the need for stiffer penalties for hackers who harm our privacy, our national security, and our economic well-being. Stiffer penalties, I would note, are of little use without adequate law enforcement resources to impose them. I'd note further that this is an area where civil actions by the government to protect the public, such as the government's recent action in the Coreflood botnet, are particularly important. I'm glad that we have the opportunity to evaluate the administration's proposals today. We have witnesses joining us from the Department of Justice, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Department of Commerce. I thank them for being with us today and for their ongoing work to secure cyberspace. I would also briefly note that I believe that the Senate should consider issues beyond the current scope of the administration's proposals, such as increasing public awareness of cybersecurity threats, improving industry self-defense, developing rules of the road for our information highways, improving supply chain security, considering secure domains for critical infrastructure like the electric grid, increasing cyber resources within the government, and strengthening cyber research and development. I look forward to working with the administration and my colleagues on each of these important issues as we strive to strengthen our nation's cybersecurity.